sign this right here, and you own 2 A7 Mark IIIs.
Perfect. That's good. What's up, people? Alright, so this video is for all you filmmakers out there or photographers waiting on your back-ordered A7 IIIs, because we all know that's what you're doing. Nobody has it in stock, everybody wants to get one. Luckily, I was able to get my hands on one, and there's some awesome features on this camera that a few of them, no one that I've seen yet is talking about them. So, I'm going to tell you about those today, but first, let me tell you a little story. Now, for those of you who know me, you'll know that I've been in the market for a new camera for quite some time now. My A camera was holding up awesome, still is, A7S II, great camera, still love it. But my B camera, not so much. So what I did is that I decided to ditch the A6300, upgrade the A camera, and then bump the A7S II down to B camera status. But with an A7S II as your B camera, what camera could possibly be worthy of the title A cam? I looked at a bunch of different models, A7R3, FS5, FS7. I even thought about migrating slowly over to Canon, to the cinema line, C100, C200, that type of thing. Get that nice crispy dual pixel autofocus. But on February 27th of this year, all of those options went out the window when Sony announced their new basic mirrorless model, the A7 Mark III. Double-sized battery, so you can avoid those seemingly constant battery swaps that came with the old A7 series cameras. It's got dual card slots, so you never have to worry about losing any of the footage you're capturing. When you're shooting video, it shoots a 6K full sensor readout, which downsamples to 4K in camera. It's got a new button layout, it's got a touchscreen, finally, and it's got a 693% coverage autofocus system. Come up with a better name, Sony, like dual pixel, like Canon did. That's it. Yeah, just a tip. Anyways, taken from the A9, which is a camera that costs more than double what this thing costs. That's incredible. So suddenly my decision had become very simple, and I quickly began selling off my old gear to make room for this new edition. I had a few weeks to spare where I wouldn't need 2 cameras on any of the shoots I was doing, and by having the money in hand, I could avoid any of those damn credit card payments. So I decided to hold off on buying this new toy. Tool. I said tool. We're all professionals here. So here's where the trouble starts. And I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. Because by the time I had sold my old gear, and I had the money in hand to buy the new thing, it had gone out of stock across the entire internet. Except for one store. Digital Goja, Miami, Florida. In-store pickup only. Now at this point, I was down to the wire. I had a wedding coming up within a week, and I only had one single camera in my arsenal. So that's not gonna do. I actually was considering purchasing a round-trip plane ticket to Miami, Florida, to go to Digital Goja in person, purchase an A7 III from their storeroom, and fly back up to Pittsburgh in a single day, just so I'd have 2 cameras. So yeah, like I said, I was on the verge of flying to Miami to buy this camera because I need it in a week and a half, and everywhere is out of stock. But Robbie here.
What up? It's your boy.
When did you get these in?
Oh, about an hour ago, maybe less.
Okay, and I happened to be down the road getting a beer and selling some other stuff. Not drugs.
Not drugs. It was not selling drugs for these. It's clean.
But yeah, so now we're getting 2. One's going to my good friend Nate King. He makes awesome music and movies, but he needs a camera too. So we're getting him one, we're getting me one, and this guy's hooking it all up.
I'm hooking it up. YM Camera, Bourbon, Ohio. We make hard to find items appear. So if you ever need anything, let us know. But hey, congrats, man. You got to be super excited here.
I am very excited.
This is dope. All right.
2 A7 Mark IIIs and a giant thing of beer, and we're heading home. It's been a good day. So how about that? Insane, right? Now, I'm not going to go through a full review of this because everyone and their mother has already done one of those online. But I'm going to tell you a few things that I really like and a couple things I don't really like of this new camera. And the ones I don't really like aren't even that big of a deal. First off, there's no HDMI lock any longer on the side of the camera. All the A7 series cameras always came with a micro HDMI anyways, which is a terrible connector. At least upgrade to mini HDMI, if not a full size. There's no reason you couldn't fit it here. But to take away the HDMI lock, I already go through sometimes 2 HDMI cables a day just because they break off in here. I've been lucky enough not to actually break the ports of my a7S II yet, but I literally go through HDMI cables like they're candy. And the lack of an HDMI lock, yeah, not a good thing. Second thing, ironically enough, is the placement of the record button, which is in the usual spot for 90% of camera manufacturers. But I've had a Sony camera since the a7S Mark I, and it's always been on the side here. I'm so used to it now. I'm sure I'll get used to switching over, pushing this button, but for now it's just a hassle, especially having an a7S II as my B camera. Sometimes the record button's here, sometimes it's there, but you know, I'll deal with it. Now onto the good. I don't know why no one has mentioned this, but this is the first Sony mirrorless camera that I'm aware of where you are able to custom white balance in video mode. That's a big deal to me because every other Sony camera I've ever had, to set a custom white balance, I would have to switch out of movie mode into photo mode, go to custom white balance setup, set the white balance, switch back to movie mode, then you had your custom white balance set. None of that hassle anymore. You can stay in movie mode, set your custom white balance, and you're ready to go. Awesome. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's a simple software thing, but they finally got it right. The second thing that I really like about this camera, which I haven't heard anything about before, has to do with the touchscreen focusing. And I knew you could tap the screen, rack focus back and forth, do that kind of thing, but I didn't know that the functionality of the touchscreen focus changes based on some of the other settings. Most noticeably to me was the center lock-on autofocus. If you have that set to on, when you're using the touchscreen and you tap on an object, it will lock onto that object and track it across the screen. Wherever it goes, it'll stay locked on. That's awesome, works great. But if you turn the center lock-on autofocus to off and you do the same thing and tap an object, it will focus on that object, but then it will lock focus at that point and won't shift. It'll basically stop tracking any focus and just stay locked on the object, which works great when you're racking between objects, or if you have something that's relatively stationary and there's a lot of other action going on where you don't really need to track the object that you want to stay focused on, but you don't want it to pick up all these other moving objects. So as of right now, I've set up this little joystick thing as my center lock-on autofocus button, so I can toggle between those two modes and use the different features of the touchscreen focus based on the situations I'm in. And it's working awesome so far. So generally, yeah, I knew what to expect with this camera, but those are a few things that I hadn't heard anyone talk about, which just are icing on the cake. I knew this was going to be a great camera, but that just even puts it over the top for me. And yeah, this is going to be my A camera, my go-to camera for some time to come. Awesome piece of gear. I hope you get yours in the mail soon because these back orders are ridiculous. Anyways, that's it. I'm out of here.